KFIZ News Time, 8:11 on your Saturday morning, and this is the kickoff of a brand new season of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. And joining us this morning, yeah, he's back, the one, the only, and I didn't forget the word, the inimitable, Ron Rademann.
I still can't say that word.
There's too many inimitables in there.
It's just a multisyllabic word. Yeah. So, and the other voice we hear, she's back again too this year.
Am.
It's Master Gardener Carol. Good to see you again as well.
It's good to be here.
So, as a reminder, everybody, 920-923-1450, 888-900-1450, and email. You can do it at kfizstudio@gmail.com. Get your questions in that way. And if you got some pictures, we always like to remind you, if you got some pictures, please feel free to send those along, because it makes it easier for these two to see what you got going. Mm-hmm. So, did you have a good winter?
And you could even send a picture and call if you...
You could do both.
Sure.
And then describe what you got.
And we'll describe what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We'll try to at least.
In other words, they could phone and they could send a picture before that.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be really good.
That'd be really super. Mm-hmm. But first of all, we got to get them to think spring.
Think spring. Yeah. Well, it's, it's a mixed bag so far this year. And this coming week is typical with, 15-degree wind chills this morning and 20-degree temperatures. And then, Monday it's supposed to be in the 70s. So, and then back to the highs in the 40s.
Yeah, the actual
midweek
temp, the actual temp in Manitowish Waters, 20 minutes north of Monaco this morning, 3. Hello,
Ouch.
They're ice fishing again.
Yeah. Well, and that's last week I went up to Upper Michigan, Ironwood area, and was skiing, and it's definitely a different climate up there. You're still, it's winter up there yet. And
so you go a little bit east of Ironwood and go off that huge ski jump at Copper Peak or whatever?
I try not to.
Okay. I would pay to see that.
No, that's a little beyond
your talent and ability.
A little bit beyond my abilities.
Okay. You're more of a shusher.
Yeah, I take it easy, but I still have fun doing it. It's good winter exercise.
You're outdoors,
so
enjoying it.
And
exactly.
So anyway, the weekend before that, I was in Fort Lauderdale, and
a little different from Ironwood.
So yeah, I kind of had the literally the soup to nuts. So I'm kind of still getting back into landscape smart mode when you go from beach and palm trees to skiing, and now this week,
well, just
back
for the
to
record,
the usual.
He's the only one in the room with a tan.
It's true.
So Rademann's not quite open on Saturdays yet. We are, of course, open Monday through Friday. You can listen in every Saturday morning for updates or check our website to see when we do start opening up on Saturdays. But for right now, still closed on Saturday mornings. But we'll be, as the weather improves, we'll definitely be opening up on Saturdays. Right now, we're open till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that'll expand a little bit as the weather improves too.
Alrighty, email question.
Okay.
And Daniel wants to know if it's too early to take the mulch off the hybrid tea rose bushes and cut them back.
I would maybe wait a little bit yet. It's just the days, it's just days like we have here, or nights like we had last night, when it gets down to 20 degrees. The idea behind the mulch and the coverings is to kind of insulate the root systems, insulate the soil, so that, as spring comes, it gradually thaws things out and not get into the freezing and thawing periods. And so the mulch is real important yet at this time of year, because again, we were, into the teens last night, and then come Monday we're in the 70s. So that's what does more harm to plants than cold weather or warm weather. It's that those big fluctuations that we can get here in March and early April. So, we're probably a couple weeks away yet. I think I would have a tendency to leave them covered yet for at least a couple weeks yet until we kind of get out of this funk where we're getting down, into, and that doesn't mean if we start getting a few nights where it dips down to 30, they would be okay. But, when it's getting down into the, low 20s on consecutive nights, that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Hard
Wednesday night, the forecast is 27 with a chance for some snowflakes Thursday morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just it. And when you go from these temperatures like we have here this morning, 20 degrees, then down up to 70 on Monday, and it's and 60 on Tuesday. There's some good temperatures coming in that way, some good warm temperatures. So
background music.
Yeah. So hold off for now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we're only looking at a matter of weeks, probably.
Yeah, just a couple weeks. We just got to kind of get through this funk here a little bit, and then we'd be okay. Yeah.
And for the people that put a lot of mulch around, say, a rose bush, not necessarily that they use the cones, but they do that, you could start in another week or so and take some of it away and then take a little more away later instead of going from one extreme to the other, especially when they pile it up so high. They could start doing that. But, of course, nobody wants to go out there and do the same task 3 times over, so, yeah.
Well, dedicated gardeners might
do that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're itchy to get out there and get started.
And do something.
So.
Yes.
No
do
kidding.
Something.
Speaking of doing something, what have you started doing already for spring? Anything? You're thinking about it.
Well, I start plants in the basement.
Okay.
So I have that going. I start them for the Junior Master Gardener program, and for myself and for my daughter. And so I have that going. And I did go out because I have one of those prickly pear things that lays really flat. And it's a big circle, and it got way too big. And so I did dig those out because they don't have a whole lot of their prickly things on now, the big long ones. So I'd say my circle was 10 to 12 feet, a big oval thing, and now it's half that. So it was 3 loads with my wagon behind the four-wheeler to haul that out. But I could use a fork and pull them and then do it with my hands the rest of the way. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. I had left it get just way too big. It was into a whole lot of other flowers, and it was getting weedy. So
it was time.
Yes.
It was time.
My circle's probably the size of this table, whatever that would be. I'd say, yeah.
Big.
Yeah. It's half that now.
And you
it looks good.
mentioned before we went on the air, you had something you wanted to bring up about the Junior Master Gardeners.
Oh, if I can now, I would do that.
Well, it's up to Ron. It's
Sure.
your show.
No, well, we're all in this together.
Yeah, we're all in this together. So, Junior Master Gardeners has been an active program since 2002. It has changed now, so I need to say what's going on with it. It was called Urban Country Food Program, and this is when Patty took care of it. So that was 2002 they did that, and their first project was a pizza garden, and then they had 4-H kids. And they actually went at this all year round. They did the garden, and then they had arts and craftsy projects the rest of the year. I can't remember if she said they did it once a week or if they did it every other week. So, in the summer, they were gardening, I said, as in the rest of the year, and they met once a month during the winter time and did arts and crafts. When I joined in 2012, there was a part-time UW person who worked for the UW Extension food program. And that's how our program changed from being half gardening and half food preparation. So there was a lot of information for the kids on both ends. That has gone away. It was, what do I have here?
So you're not doing food preparation?
We're not doing food prep anymore. So we found out at the end of this last summer that the extension person that was in charge of the food programs was gone. So then we went to 4-H. And they had been in 4-H at the beginning, and now we're back at 4-H, and I think it'll work out really well. This is the brochure they sent out. We had a program already this last week, but we only had 8 children. So we're looking for more kids to come to this. What is Junior Master Gardener? It says, get ready to dig in, explore, and create. Kids will plant, grow, and care for their own garden with the help from the Master Gardeners. They'll taste fresh snacks. We will not be doing full-fledged kind of a meal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be just snacks and such. There'll be crafts later on also. We had one already the first time. Along the way, youth build teamwork skills, make new friends, and give back by sharing produce and flowers with the community. Plus, each session brings something fun. We have science experiments, scavenger hunts, guest speakers, garden adventures, and hands-on projects that make learning exciting. We can take any youth between grades 3 and 8 who love being active outdoors, digging in the dirt, caring for the plants, trying simple kitchen activities, enjoying snacks, and making new friends. We had a meeting already. We're going to meet every other week, but we're going to extend it into the fall. So March 19th was our first meeting, 4 to 5:30. And we wrote on the board all the things we'd like to plant. Can we plant? Where would they go? What would they do? No, we can't do peaches and whatever. That kind of thing. So it'll be every other week from March 19th, which we've had. April 2nd will be this week, to October 8th. We meet 4 to 5:30 when school is on, and we meet starting June 11th. We start at 1 to 2:30 in the afternoon. Then we do a lot more gardening, of course, and we would have planted quite a bit of the garden by that time. So I have the phone number for the person at the 4-H office. Her name is Tracy Keifenheim, 920-906-4633. Maybe you know the extension office. There's anyway. That's what we're trying to do is round up a few more kids.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Well, good luck. And it
Yes.
sounds like a perfect opportunity
It is a wonderful
to give kids something to do in summertime.
Well, and
Exactly.
I was in 4-H, a long time ago now, but it's just a fun, community organization to kind of get you started in service back to the community, and it begins at a young age like that. And if you can get involved with something you enjoy, something you love, and it's good for you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Start them young, get them in the habit, and it's one that they'll keep. You start later, maybe.
Yeah, maybe not.
Alrighty. Let's
And
take,
the hours do you have someone there?
taking our first break.
Go. Oh, break. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, we'll take a little break. Again, Rademann's not open on Saturday mornings here quite yet. We certainly will be in a couple weeks. Hours are, at this time of year, open until 4 o'clock on Monday through Friday. So just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, and then east on County B, a quarter mile right there at the crest of the hill.
KFIZ News Time 8:27. We are back. This is Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Lines are open 920-923-1450. Computer is working, so you can send an email, kfizstudio@gmail.com. Daniel did. He got his question answered. You too could do the same thing if you're bashful and don't want to call. So anyhow, that number again, Carol, I cut you off with the break.
For the 4-H program, 920-906-4633. And I was saying that the grandmas and grandpas are the easier ones to bring the grandkids because of the timing. So think about that. If maybe grandma and grandpa can bring them, that works out swell. They don't have to stay anymore. We can, the kids can just be with us. That's been settled. And
But
so
don't
that
forget
would be
to pick
great.
them up.
Yes, pick them up again.
What is kind of the age range for the children in the Junior Master Gardeners program, Carol?
It's grades 3 through 8. They don't give an age as much as they just do the grades, and then they've got
Yeah,
something
that's-
to talk to. Yes. So any
So
grades
that's about
3 through
maybe
8.
So if
9
you
or-
fail fourth grade 3 times, you can stay in it longer.
Yes, you can.
So
Very
kind
good
of
idea.
starting at around, maybe around 8, 9, 10 years old, right in there. Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a lot of gardening, and then we will have some other activities as well. Yes.
Alrighty, sounds good. You wanted to talk about some tree business.
Well, on the break, we were just, in these temperatures, the weather that we get at this time of the year, it's just an ideal time to do like dormant oil applications. What works out best if you're applying, what I like about putting dormant oil on, especially on like apple trees, fruit trees, pear trees, plums, cherries, whatever, you're spraying it on the branches at this time of year. You're not spraying it on the leaves. You're not spraying it on the fruit, so it's a dormant oil, which is already, kind of an organic product to begin with, but it works so well at this time of year because you're definitely not spraying it on fruit because nothing is even blossoming, so it gives you an opportunity to control some of the potential insect problems that you have especially on apples by spraying. And the idea behind a dormant oil spray is if you can go out like a spray on an afternoon like this afternoon, and maybe not quite yet this morning, it's a little, it's a little too cold yet, but it works out ideally if the temperatures are freezing overnight and then heating up into the 40s and 50s during the day, because then you're spraying when it's sunny and 40 or 50 degrees, and then it holds its better. The dormant oil lasts longer if it's freeze drying onto the tree. So it's a great time to do dormant oil spraying here in March and early April, and you still have a month yet before we're going to get leaves on apple trees, and probably a month yet, but it isn't quite as effective as it is right now. So
I guess it's a basic question, but as a reminder for folks, why do we spray? What's it doing for us?
Well, you're controlling funguses, you're controlling, insects, there's a multitude of different ones that, attack fruit trees, let's just say. And, the other thing, I always tell people you do things a little different when you have your own fruit trees at home. You don't really, if they got a few spots on, who cares? And, if you're going to the grocery store and you're paying $2 a pound for apples, you want every apple to be perfect and useful. You don't want to, be tossing them out. But if you have your own apple trees, you have more apples than what you can possibly use, usually more apples than what you can even give away to your friends, neighbors, relatives, unless you have an awful lot of friends in a big family. So, I don't even, like when on my fruit trees, I don't spray them at all. I mean, we sell the products at Rademann's for spraying apple trees because people, some people prefer to do it that way. But I end up with so many apples, I don't need to spray I go pick 6 of them, I throw them on the back seat of my truck, and I take 2 or 3 bites out of this one and throw it out the window and grab another one and take another 2 or 3 bites and throw that one out the window and then take another 2 or 3 bites, and by the time you get to the 4th or the 5th apple, you've had the equivalency of 1.5 apples. And then the next day or 2 days later, you go do it all over again because you have so many apples that you don't really need to have each one of them perfect. So, the advantage isn't always to be, but that way you're controlling the pesticides that you're putting on them, and you don't have to worry about it. You know exactly what's going on your own apple trees. So,
Am I correct that dormant oil, which I know I didn't do last year, and I don't think I did it the year before either, but I had written it down earlier that I'm going to try to do it this year. Isn't that to it like suffocates any bugs in that or eggs that are inside the bark, in the little cracks of the bark. That's that main goal of that, right?
Right.
Yes.
Good. It's a good point, Carol. What it does is it suffocates like scale insects. So any and egg masses that are there, it isolates them, and then they don't hatch and develop properly, or it actually literally kills scale. And there's also scale issues. Well, there was always a lot of scale issues on ash trees. Of course, we don't have that problem to worry about anymore. But you'll still see scale on even like mugo pine or, magnolia, for example. You'll see some blackening of the branches. And if you look real close, it's just tiny little insects that are actually on the edges of the branches or on the tips of the branches, small little branchlets. And so and on like a mugo pine or any other pine it'll be a white, you just kind of, it looks kind of like a frost on them, and it looks kind of attractive, but in the meantime, it's also, it's insects that are sucking the energy out of the needles, and so a mugo pine or any other pine can fight it off for a short period of time, but if as it gets worse and worse, then they can succumb to it. So it's just an ideal time so if your pines are looking like they're frosted, it probably is scale. And if you're not sure, you could look it up online or send us a picture in here to the show, and we can definitely identify it if we see a picture. And then, again, this dormant oil that you can just mix it up in a 1-gallon sprayer and spray it on, and it's real easy to work with. So it's one of the easiest insecticides to apply.
So as a matter of procedure, then if we have mugo pines, we should be spraying them?
Well, I don't like to ever spray something
Or
preventatively, or just if there's nothing there to kill, then don't bother spraying them.
I guess that's my question.
But if you see it, sure.
Okay.
And then it would be important, because you think, well, it's not that bad, but, they'll multiply and then it'll get worse. So it's always easiest to, because if you see it, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So you can't, and on the other hand, if it's not so bad, you could, if you miss this year and you don't get around to it till next year, well, it's probably still okay too. But if you've got scale issues for 2 or 3 years in a row, then you're going to have the potential to have the damage to the plants.
And those mugo ones they're much more apt to have that than any of the others.
It
right?
seems like they're just more
susceptible.
Right. Than some of the other pine trees. And I think part of it is like where most pines grow, a white pine grows 2 or 3 feet a year, so they can kind of grow right past scale insects and things like that. Where a mugo pine grows slower, it only grows 3 inches or 6 inches or 9 inches, depending on the variety. There, they don't kind of fight their way through it as well, so it becomes more noticeable on a mugo pine just because they grow slower and stay smaller. And they're easier to spray too because they're only, 2 or 3 or 4 feet tall, where if you have a problem in a 40-foot white pine, you're not going to really be able to do anything with it anyway. Actually, I think we see it more on like Scotch pine and Austrian pine. It's more prevalent than actually on white pine. White pine being a native Wisconsin tree, sometimes they're a little more resistant to some of these other pests. So
there's always something to be watching for.
Excuse me.
And the one of the other, if you're going to, apples do need pollinators, so you either need a second apple tree or you need a flowering crabapple in your yard that's blossoming at the same time. And flowering crab apples make great pollinators, so you don't always need two. If you happen to have or your neighbor happens to have a flowering crab that's on your side of the yard, you're probably covered too. But a lot of times it's, you can try planting just one apple tree, and if you're getting apples without a second pollinator apple, then you don't have anything to worry about. If you go 2 or 3 years and you're still not getting apples, then you probably do need a pollinator. So, and I don't know, Honeycrisp is still number one, and there's some newer varieties, but some of the newer varieties of apples that you see like in the grocery store, if you like, Walmart sells more Cosmic Crisp apples than any other apple in the world, but it's mainly because they travel well. It's a little bit of a thicker skin, and they can transport them, whereas Honeycrisp is a thinner skinned apple, and it's a little more prone to some of the diseases and insects and fungus problems. And of course, if you're buying apples at the grocery store, they can't be all full of spots, or no one's going to buy them. So that's where Cosmic Crisp probably doesn't. Everybody's tastes are a little bit different, so I can't say that a Honeycrisp tastes better than a Cosmic Crisp, but Cosmic Crisp has some Honeycrisp blood in it, and that's why but it's got the flavor of the preferred flavor of Honeycrisp, but it's just a little bit, it just transports better. So that's why they're more popular at grocery stores.
Yeah, I've had them both. I like them both.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All righty, let's dive into our second break.
Sure, good time for that. We're winding through the show here in a hurry. So anyway, again, Rademann's not open today, not open on Saturdays here quite yet. We will be in a couple weeks, but otherwise you can give us a call or stop on out. We're just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, east on County B off of Highway 41.
And once again, welcome to Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Ron Rademann here. Master Gardener Carol is here. And we have a caller, so let's hit the phones. Good morning. Thanks for waiting.
Good morning. I have a question on geraniums. I planted them the 7th of February, and they're 7, 8, 9 inches tall, some of them. I water them about once a week, and I fertilize them once. Now, could I cut them back? Otherwise, they're going to be way up or not.
You said geraniums, right?
Yes. It's some that I saved over from last year. I bring them in and hang them in the basement, and then I brought them up and planted them the 7th of February.
Okay, so I was wondering how they got that big. So you didn't start from seed.
No.
You just are re-energizing the ones you had
My
hanging.
old,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason why you can't cut them back. I had 2 that I saved, but I kept them in the pots because I have lights down in the basement.
Okay.
I cut those back because they do get leggy, and I don't think it's going to hurt anything.
Okay, because I had a couple, too, that we left in the pots, and I cut them back when I brought them up already. But now they're way up like these other ones, and I'm wondering now if I could cut the whole works back. But by how much? Half, you think, or more than half?
How tall did you say they are?
Some are 7, 8, 9 inches tall already.
I'd go back a quarter of the way, a third of the way.
That's what I was going
think
to say,
it's
maybe
gonna-
about
yeah.
a third.
Right,
Mhm.
because
A
it's
third, okay.
then it's going to branch
All right.
out a little better too.
That's what I want, okay.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Okay.
And they'll
that
build a
answers
little
my-
better caliper in the stem that way too, so they'll be able to support the flowers.
Flowers, yeah, okay. All right, well, thank you very much. Enjoy your show very much.
Well, thanks for listening again this year. Appreciate it, and thanks for the call. 923-1450. course, preceded by 920 these days. 888-900-1450 works as well. And the email is available, kfizstudio@gmail.com.
We're also doing, you can, if you tune in late here and you want to know what you missed in the first half of the show or 2/3 of the show, you can go on KFIZ on demand, and of course we're on there. Or otherwise, if we also love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube, and then you get a email as Cody finishes them up on Sundays. You'll let you know if you want to tune back in and listen to parts of the show over. You can, in case you missed what Carol was talking about with the Master Gardener program, you can listen to it a second time. Or if you miss out on how to cut your geraniums back, or when, or how long, or how far, that's so
it's available.
So yeah, so if you tuned in and you kind of missed the first half, that's a good way to catch back up. So
and another way they can catch back up is the Master Gardeners will be, I believe they said it's in the left-hand side of the home show today, and I'll be there for the next 2 hours. So if there's anybody that was listening to this and didn't get the phone number or want to know more about it, I'll be there, and we have brochures to give out as well to try to get some kitties for our show. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, good plug. Good time to plug for the home show. Rademann's will be there, so you can stop in and say hi. I'm not exactly what the work schedule is. I know Joe is there for sure. Most of the time he takes care of the initial walk-in traffic at Rademann's for the most part, so he's definitely at the home show.
The face of the counter.
So, yep.
I
And
heard
you hear
that
Joe's ads on the Bull and here on KFIZ, so you can. You know what he sounds like. Now you can
put a face to the
put
voice.
A face to it.
The Master Gardeners are right next to a brewery, I heard. So
that's appropriate.
It'll make it easier for them to find us as well.
Well, in Wisconsin and Fond du Lac, being next to the brewery can be a popular place to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic there.
The only other place that would be good would be near the free cheese samples.
That's true.
Anyhow, you were talking about trimming and stuff earlier. I got a question about, I don't know what kind they are. To me, it's an evergreen bush. But the thing is, I was remiss in not cutting it back for a couple of years, keeping it trimmed, and now it's just overgrowing like crazy. Can I this year trim back a foot and a half to open that walkway up again, because it's just going over? And if so, when can I do it? And if I cut it back and it's going to look so naked, all I'm going to see is sticks, will it fill in again?
Well, and
3 parts.
Right. And I'm going to answer it generically, because if you have an arborvitae or juniper, red cedar, white cedar, if you cut it back, it will probably, you cut all the green off, it'll probably regrow and you'll get some more new green growth. If you have a pine or a spruce tree and you trim off those new buds, then you're not going to get new growth. So to answer the question, yes and no, or no, depending on the variety.
This one gets little red berries on it.
And yeah, I think it's Japanese yew that you have there, Jerry.
Okay, I think that's what you had said.
And the Japanese yew will regenerate or put out some more new shoots and new growth too. It's more the pines and the spruce and the fir that won't do that real readily. Where yews, arborvitaes, juniper, cedar, those produce, even if you cut the tips off, they'll still push out some new buds and new growth. So, and the timing of it, you could do that pretty much any time now. So, we're definitely early in the season. I wouldn't say you have to go out and get it done this weekend. You've got about a month yet actually before any.
So I can wait till it's warmer.
So you can wait till it's warmer too. Sure.
I hate trimming in gloves. Yeah. Winter gloves.
And at the same time, it's no fun trimming when it's 85 degrees out either.
Point well taken.
So, maybe the compromise in there when it's in the 50s works out the best, and we're going to have we should have some good 50-degree weather here for the next, few weeks or so. So good working weather when you're wearing a hooded sweatshirt and rather than your winter coat.
But safe to do.
But yeah, you could do that anytime now.
Perfect. All right, let's dive into our final break, and then we'll see if we have any more calls coming in.
Sure. So again, Rademann's open today. Not open today. Open Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock. And you can give us a call, set up an appointment, or stop on out. It's always doesn't hurt to call ahead and make sure that we're not real busy. 920-922-7612.
And once again, we are back. The final few minutes of the kickoff of the new season of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. 920-923-1450. If you've got a question, I strongly recommend that you call right now, because if you call in 10 minutes, you'll get a polka.
Yeah. You'll get your polka request in, but you won't get
your plants will die, but you'll have a polka to listen to while it's doing it. Also, Gmail account is open for you, kfizstudio@gmail.com.
Could I once more give the phone number?
Oh, absolutely
and
not.
Say come out to the home
Absolutely
show
not.
because we have brochures out there. Then you would know everything about it except. So it's 920-906-4623. Come to the home show, then you get a brochure and you get to read all about it right away and probably even sign up. So if you would like to have some little kids come to a garden, as I said before, it is 3rd through 8th grade kids we're looking for. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. It was Ron's pleasure.
I can talk for a couple more minutes on once we get me going on apple trees, then I start thinking of other things too. And one that you'll probably start hearing more about, the University of Washington. And I always kind of have a tendency to work more with the University of Minnesota, because if I'm planting apple trees here in Wisconsin, it's always better to work with trees that come out of the University of Minnesota than come out of the University of Washington, just because you've got, local Midwest. The climate here in Wisconsin is different than it is in Washington. But the University of Washington, they took an apple, they crossed this Cosmic Crisp with one called Sunflare, and it's and you aren't going to see Sunflare around here for at least 3 or 4 more years, because it takes 18 to 20, 25 years to come up with apple. The apple trees that they're working on today, we aren't going to, see for 20 more years. But when they crossed Honeycrisp and Cosmic Crisp, they came up with one called Sunflare. And the advantage to Sunflare is it's going to handle our climate change a little bit better. You'll be able to grow it as you get more into, Illinois or further south, where most apple trees don't do well as you get further south. And that's one of the advantages of like Honeycrisp and Cosmic Crisp too. They've got that a lighter, yellower skin, pink skin. It can handle the sun and the heat better. So that's why they do better than the dark red apples. But you won't see Sunflare for a while, but it will become real popular because they can grow them over a larger range of the United States than what like Honeycrisp or Cosmic Crisp can. It's specially bred to hybridize to handle heat better, and also because it's got that the thicker skin like a Cosmic Crisp. It'll travel well. So you'll see that. You may, and I don't know, Honeycrisp probably still tastes better. These that are hybridized, they bring them into the market for different reasons. But if you're listening to us from down in Illinois, look for a Sunflare. It'll handle the heat better as you get into central Illinois, better than what one like Honeycrisp would. So anyway, that's the other kind of the new developments. It's called Sunflare. You won't see them in grocery stores until 2029, 2030, 2031. There just aren't enough.
Too new.
It's too new. It's too new.
I never thought about south of us that they'd have a harder time with apple trees.
Yeah,
well, it makes sense because they have all that heat, but I just never thought about it.
You need it's cooler summer temperatures that we have here in Wisconsin during the summers. And that's why you see a lot of apple orchards like in Michigan and fruit trees in Door County and over towards Lake Michigan. We need the cooling effect of the Great Lakes. Not so cold that we're zone 2 or zone 3 like you are as you get up into, upper Michigan and Minocqua. You don't see too many apple trees up there. They just aren't hardy enough. So there's
that the deer would eat them.
So there's just that fine balance, of cooler summer weather, but not so cold.
All righty.
So, anyway,
it's a wrap. Rademann's not open today.
Not open today. Of course, we will be open again on Monday and again Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock.
All righty.
So,
our thanks to Carol, and a reminder, stop out at the home show, and you can see the Rademann booth, and you can see the Master Gardeners.
Right. It should be good.
All righty. And we will be back next week with another edition of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, every week from here on out.
All righty. And thank you for your calls today and your emails. Coming up next, the Jerry Schneider Show on News Talk 1450 KFIZ in Fond du Lac. KFIZ News Time, 9 o'clock. Good morning.